الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله أما بعد. So in order now, inshallah, Azza wa Jal, to proceed, because we only have 45 minutes, bi'idhnillah, for this long topic. You can always go back to the YouTube. We've dealt with this issue on a few occasions, yarhamakullah, and in different masajid across the world, actually, but especially in the masajid in Europe, because the dawah of the Khawarij has taken root in Europe more than any place else, because of the democracy that these people have and because of the opportunities that non-Muslims actually give Muslims. The Muslims in their countries have a lot of problems, economic problems, have problems connected to politics, lack of stability, diseases. So they leave their countries and they go to Europe, and they take advantage of the freedoms in Europe. And then instead of painting a good picture of Islam, we become radical and extreme, and we carry to them the dawah of the Khawarij. The vast majority of people in the world today who are Muslims are non-Arabs. And when the Arabs of the Arabian Peninsula traveled throughout the world, they carried the message of al-Islam, and the message that the Arabs carried was not necessarily on their tongue. They called with their tongues, but more than anything, they gave dawah to the host country based upon their actions. And that's a principle in Islam. That principle is actions speak louder than words. Kuffar know that. It's just the fitrah. My mother, Miss Mamie, I love her. I love my mother. So if I really love my mother, then I have to give a dawah ilallah. If I really love my mother, I have to be patient with her. If I really love my mother, I have to exist with her in a particular way. If I'm screaming, I love you, I love you, I love you, but I'm behaving contrary to what my tongue is saying, then I'm like the munafiqeen. So Allah mentioned all those ayahs, يَقُولُونَ بِأَلْسِنَتِهِمْ. They say with their tongues what they don't believe in their hearts. So that's another group of the Qur'an. Khawarij, Qadariyah, Jahmiyyah. The Jahmiyyah are the fifth usul of the deviant groups. The Jahmiyyah, I didn't mention that. So another group of kufr, the munafiqeen. They say what they don't mean. So we have all of those ayats. Actions speak louder than words. The words are important. The man came and said, Ya Rasulullah, qulli fil Islam. Tell me something in Islam I can only ask you. He said, Qul amantu billahi thumma istaqim. Say I believe in Allah and then be upright. So when the Prophet said, I believe in Allah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we saw that in how he behaved from the time he woke up to the time he went to sleep. I believe in Allah, but I don't want for my brother what I want for myself. You know, all these issues. So the point here, Ikhwani, is the Khawarij. A lot can be said about the Khawarij. But I want to deal with what's going on today with ISIS, which is one of the main Khawarij groups today. And it is not acceptable for any Muslim with his intellect to support ISIS in any shape, form, or fashion. Another group of the Khawarij today is Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda. The Egyptian leader, the Egyptian man, Ayman al-Zawahiri. He's the emir after the death of Usamah bin Laden. Ghafarallahu lana wa lahu. When Usamah bin Laden died, Muslims were upset. That was in Kenya, and they have a little mode of transportation. They travel around in it. You get in the back, it's called the matatu. It's like two wheels in the back, one wheel in the front, and then they have these other little small vans. You get in it, cheap mode of transportation. Many of the people were driving those things. They have pictures of Usamah bin Laden. I have relatives, their WhatsApp picture, Usamah bin Laden. Skype picture, Usamah bin Laden. Usamah bin Laden, I'm not here to judge him. Allah is his judge. But his actions and his efforts, what he believed and what he said, a Muslim who knows this religion, he can't support it. killing innocent people because America's foreign policy. I'm against America's foreign policy. I'm against what's happening to our brothers in Israel, our brothers in Palestine. The racist, terroristic state of Israel. Those Zionists they are terrorists. But as I told you, two wrongs don't make a right. لا يجرمنكم شنآن قوم على ألا تعدلوا اعدلوا هو أقرب للتقوى. Don't let a people's oppression towards you make you oppressive. Be a person of taqwa, that's closer, be just. So we have a minhaj. وَجَعَلْنَا لِكُلِّ مِنْكُمْ شِرْعَةً وَمِنْهَاجًا. We gave you people a minhaj. Someone does wrong to you, you can't repay that wrong with another wrong. Allah commanded in his book, idfa billati hiya ahsan. Push it back with what is best. The Prophet was in Mecca, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and those people were killing his companions, Sumayya, Yasir, all of those companions. They expelled the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. His companions left. When it was time for him to leave, they called him Muhammad al-Amin. They left with him all of their money. He was not the bank, but he was the Amin. He took care of all of their wealth. When it was time to leave for him and Abu Bakr to make hijrah, he didn't take their money and go to Medina. He didn't steal their money. And then when he justified it and went to Medina and said, well, you did this, I got your money. You put me, that's what we do, we justify. They're doing this so we can do that. One time, Khalid ibn Walid, the safe from the Suyuf of Allah, radiallahu anhu, the Prophet sent him to a group of people, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, to see what was going on. When Khalid ibn Walid got there, he killed women and children and old people. His thing was, hey, I'm going to deal with you. Allah sorted out. He didn't mean evil. He killed those people. When the Prophet heard about it and he came to the situation and the scene, he raised his hands up and he said, Allahumma inni bari'un mimma sana'a Khalid. Oh Allah, I'm free from what Khalid did here today. I don't condone this. I don't support this. Then he told the Muslims, La taqtulu shiyukh, wa la taqtulu niswan, wa la taqtulu al-awlad, wa la tamathilu. Don't kill old men, don't kill women, don't kill children, and don't mutilate people. His uncle, Hamza, radiallahu anhu, was killed at the Battle of Uhud. And when the kuffar got him, they mutilated him, opened up his stomach and pulled out his intestines. They cut his face open, took his ears off, took his eyes out. When the Prophet saw he was shot, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he told his companions, hide him, cover him up before my auntie, his sister, Sophia, before Sophia sees this. So when the Muslims were going to conquer Mecca, when they were on their way to conquer Mecca and they had strength, they were saying, in Fathu Mecca, they were going to conquer Mecca, they were saying, riding their horses, they say, you remember the day of Hamza? You remember what they did to Hamza? Today is the day of meat. We're going to butcher these people. And they were getting uptight. They were, the companions used to do that in order to get pumped up like you do in sports. That's from the Sunnah. A companion, his name is Abu Dujana. He's a mujahid. The companions engaged the kuffar. Then they took a break. Naturally, and the companions were tired. They were wounded. It was hot. Abu Dujana got on his horse. And he rode in front of the companions and he made the horse, in the horse show, how that horse trot. It's difficult for the horse to do that. You have to be a horseman to do that. Abu Dujana was doing that in front of the companions with his chest out as if to say, hey, let's get busy. And when the companions, the Arabs, when they saw that, they was like ready to go. The Prophet said, this walking of Abu Dujana, this riding, it would be haram any other place other than here. For the man just to go down the street in his horse like that, it's haram. You can't walk like that. That's kibr. But right now, in the land of jihad, right now, we need the people to get pumped up. So he allowed it. So that's what the companions were saying. You remember Hamza? You remember Hamza? Today, the Yom al-Lahm, we're going to put their meat out. The Prophet heard that. He told the people, don't say that. I haven't been sent with that. Hey, guys, I mean, I don't want to get diverted, but I think it's important. He was in Mecca, and the non-Muslims used to perform Hajj in Mecca. But they used to do Hajj the way Ibrahim taught them, the way Ismail taught them from a long time ago. And the Prophet was a prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, 13 years in Mecca. That's why last night when I said his mother and his father are kuffar, and although the ayat said we will not punish a people till we send a Rasul, what Rasul came to his mother and his father? His mother and his father was on the same religion that Ibrahim and them were on. They were still doing things that Ibrahim and Ismail taught them. They knew Ibrahim and Ismail. They drew a picture of Ibrahim inside of the Kaaba doing istislam he was doing divination. And the Prophet, when he conquered Mecca, he wiped that off. He said Ibrahim didn't do that. So anyway, the Kuffar of Quraysh, they used to perform tawaf. They used to perform a sa'i between Safa and Marwa. Inna Safa wal Marwa min sha'airillah. فَمِنْ حَجِّ الْبَيْتَ وَاعْتَمَرَ فَلَا جُنَاحَ عَلَيْهِ أَنْ يَطَّوَّفَ بِهِمَا. The companions said, Ya Rasulullah, can we go Safa and Marwa? They used to do it in Jahiliyyah. That ayah came down and said, do it. Anyway, Kuffar of Quraysh were performing Hajj. And they can't take their swords and their weapons. The companions, some of them came and said, Ya Rasulullah, got a brilliant idea. Let us get them now. Let's get them now. They don't have their swords, and we do. It's an even playing field. We're small in numbers, we're less than them, but they don't have their numbers. Let's get them. Prophet Muhammad says, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Ma bu'ithtu bihadha." I haven't been sent with that. You know, if we kill those pilgrims, what the people in the peninsula are going to say about us? Don't you know if you cut that man's head off like that on YouTube, what the people are going to say about us? The last man that they killed was a revert. His name is Abdurrahman. People know him. The one who they killed before him, Henin, he came from the UK. He was going over to Syria to help the Muslims over there. And they chopped his neck off. How did they chop his neck off? They beheaded the man for the world to see. So in dealing with the Khawarij, two issues I want to bring to your attention, and then we'll deal with the ISIS and the contemporary Khawarij. ISIS from the Khawarij. Qaeda from the Khawarij. I never said Usamah bin Laden is a kafir. I never said Usamah bin Laden is in the hellfire. I never said that. I said, oh Allah, I'm free from what Usamah bin Laden, what his dawah was. Now if you say that today to the Muslims, they say you're with the CIA, you're with the FBI. But it's the sunnah to free yourself. The scholars call it al-bara'atu al-juz'iyyah, where you partially free yourself from your brother. You have to free yourself from your Muslim brother or sister when they do something. You don't free yourself in totality, because you have to free yourself from the mushrikeen in totality. وَأَذَانٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ إِلَى النَّاسِ يَوْمَ الْحَجِّ الْأَكْبَرِ أَنَّ اللَّهَ بَرِيءٌ مِّنَ الْمُشْرِكِينَ وَرَسُولُهُ. Allah is free from the mushrikeen and his messenger. لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينِ لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ الَّذِينَ مَعَهُ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ إذ قالوا لقومهم إنا براء منكم ومما تعبدون من دون الله كفرنا بكم وبدا بيننا وبينكم العداوة والبغضاء أبدا حتى تؤمنوا بالله وحده. You have to free yourself completely from the non-Muslims in our religion. But that has a meaning. We'll come back to that point. As I mentioned to you, the usul of the sunnah that those scholars wrote, all of those issues that I talked to you about and others. Belief in the Mizan, the Mahdi, belief in the Dajjal, belief in Ya'juj and Ma'juj, the Prophet's fountain, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The Qur'an is the kalam of Allah. From him it came, to him it will return. The way you read it, when you read it, it's the speech of Allah. Taking the companions and making them the example of success is from the usul. That your religion and my religion has to be similar to those companions. If Abu Usamah says something or does something, creates and introduces a slogan that's not supported by what those companions did, then it's not from this religion. So, concerning the issue of the Khawarij and these other issues, the reason why those scholars made these books is to tell the people this is the way that the companions did it. Don't be with these other groups. He said in an authentic hadith, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, وَسَتَفْتَرِقُ أُمَّتِي على 73 فرقة كلها في النار إلا واحدة قيل وما الواحدة يا رسول الله قال الذي على مثل ما أنا عليه اليوم وأصحابي. My ummah is going to break up to 73 different groups. All of them will be in the hellfire except one. They said, which one? He said, the one that's doing what I'm doing today and what my companions are doing with me today. An ayat of the Qur'an said, فَإِنْ آمَنُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا آمَنْتُمْ بِهِ فَقَدْ اهْتَدَوْا. If they believe the way you and your companions believe, then they are guided aright. The Prophet's companions, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they are the template. I can take this Qur'an and I can prove with the Qur'an a man can have 9 wives. I can take this Qur'an and prove in this Qur'an white people are good, black people are bad. I could take this Qur'an and I can prove with this Qur'an that you can drink khamr. I can take this Qur'an and I can prove with this Qur'an things that will make a new religion. But what has to happen is you have to understand this Qur'an the way those companions understood it. You have to understand the hadith the way those companions understood the hadith. And this is one of the main problems with the Khawarij, one of the main problems with the Rawafid, people who curse the companions. Where did Allah say that about Aisha? Allah freed her of that issue in the Qur'an. He said what they're saying, تَحْسَبُونَهُ هَيِّنًا وَهُوَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ عَظِيمٌ. That thing you're saying, you think it's small, but it's a big thing for you to say that. They said that those companions apostated. But Allah said, رَضِيَ اللَّهُ عَنْهُمْ وَرَضُوا عَنْهُ. So concerning the Khawarij of the past, 2 hadith, and then we'll bring it, inshallah, to the contemporary Khawarij, and we'll open up the floor for a few questions, inshallah. ISIS, one of the worst Khawarij groups in history. Qaeda, a big problem. Qaeda have become a walk in the park compared to ISIS. ISIS is fighting Al-Qaeda. Al-Qaeda, they go to ISIS to try to get the release of people because ISIS is on another level. From the Khawarij today, I told you in Somalia, the Shabab. The Shabab. They kill the scholars of Somalia. Somalia is a country. They have their Irq al-Arabi. They have Arab in their blood. They're not like other African countries in West Africa, Nigeria, and these other places. They're close to the Arabs. And because this religion began with the Arabs in their country, where they come from, is their language. They have some position, whether you like it or not. They have a position. Doesn't mean every Arab is good. Doesn't mean that. But Allah is Al-Hakim. The last book is in their language. It's not in English, not in Africa. So I'm amazed at the person who's Afrocentric. I'm happy to be where I come from. But this religion was revealed on a man who was an Arab in Mecca. So the closer you are to that place, usually the more the person is on the fitrah. The more you get away from it, the non-Arabs get involved, Persians, this and that, stuff comes with that. Somalis, the Shabab, they shoot their scholars when their scholars come and tell the people about their reality, because that's the Khawarij. You run the risk of getting killed. From the Khawarij is a group in Nigeria called Boko Haram. Boko Haram. Do you know what the Prophet said about the Khawarij, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He said, يَقْتُلُونَ أَهْلَ الْإِسْلَامِ وَيَدْعُونَ أَهْلَ الْأَوْثَانِ. They kill the people of Islam and leave the people of Al-Awthan, the people who worship idols. They kill the Muslims. Boko Haram blew up a bomb the other day in Kano, in North Africa. I'm sure you heard 3-4 months ago, they took over 200 young girls, Muslims and non-Muslims, and then brought them in front of the world, put hijab on them, and they were saying the Shahada. And then the leader was talking in a way, anyone who sees him, he sounds like he's Majnoon. And you could see the fear in the eyes of the girl. And do you notice how the first lady of this country, Michelle, how she got involved, and she said, let our girls go. That was 3-4 months ago. The world has forgot about those girls because they're black people, because they're from Africa. You Muslims, you don't know what's going on with Muslims in Eritrea and Muslims in Ethiopia, because it's Africa. That's just the way it is, reality on the ground. The Muslims in Eritrea and Ethiopia are being persecuted just like the Muslims when the Jews were bombing Palestine, and definitely Palestine is better than Eritrea and Ethiopia. But the Muslims in those countries were being persecuted in the month of Ramadan in the same way. But all we heard the Muslims talking about were Palestine, Palestine. I understand from one angle, that's Palestine, Beit al-Maqdis. But the Prophet told us, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ إِخْوَةٌ مثل المؤمنين في توادهم وتراحمهم وتلاطفهم كمثل الجسد إذا اشتكى منه عضو تداعى له سائر الجسد بالحمى والسهر. We're like one body, one part hurt, the whole body hurts, suffers from sleeplessness. So Boko Haram, they are from the Khawarij, killing the Muslims, blew off a bomb in a masjid in Kano. Now, I'm not one of those people, because I have a minhaj when it comes to the news. When it comes to the news, you can't believe everything, you can't disbelieve everything. You have to know what you're doing. When they tell us something, the Prophet told us, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, حدثوا عن بني إسرائيل ولا حرج ولا تكذبوهم ولا تصدقوهم. Don't believe them and don't disbelieve them. You believe when it's proven. You disbelieve when the opposite is proven. If you don't know, then hold back. You know that? Text messages, WhatsApp text message. Our religion taught us how to deal with this mobile phone, and there was no mobile phone during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. He taught us how to deal with this mobile phone. So the point here, Ikhwani, those are some of the main groups of the Khawarij today, contemporary Khawarij. There was a man during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. His laqab was Dhu al-Khuwaysira. The companions described him. They said, he had big eyebrows, no fault of his own, big eyebrows. He had lines in his head, and he used to be like this. He used to frown like this. He would never smile, serious. And he had a bald head. Now, I have a bald head because I like that style. I like this style of the bald head. It's permissible to have a bald head. There's nothing wrong with having a bald head. But this man used to have a bald head religiously. This man, after one of the jihads, he came to the Prophet, grabbed him by his neck and said, Ya Muhammad, you distributed the spoils of war, the taqsim. He said, give me some more money. You gave a division. You didn't want to please Allah. You were not being fair. And he did it so tight, when he let it go, you could see the red in the neck of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Rasulullah grabbed his hands, and he had the strength of 30. Abdullah ibn Abbas said he had the strength of 30 in Sahih Bukhari. Some said 30 men, some said 30 camels. We talked about how the Qur'an affected the creation. When the Qur'an came on him, it was heavy. He had to be strong. Inna sanulqi alayka qawlan thaqila. He has to be strong. We're going to give you a heavy statement. This Qur'an was revealed on a mountain. It would break down, fall. So he wasn't weak. He was strong. He had multiple wives and so forth and so on. He could have took that man like he took the man Rukana, radiyallahu anhu, the big wrestler, and he just threw him on the ground real easily. And the man became a Muslim because he knew this is something strange. This man has superhuman strength. And he used to fast all the time, consecutively. No breaking his fast at Maghrib time. He would fast, and Aisha said, a whole month would go by, a whole month, and all we ate in his house was the two black things, black dates and water in the black cup. And yet he got up for Qiyam al-Layl. He was accessible to everybody, and he was the leader in jihad. When it used to get hot in the jihad, the companion said he was always in the middle of the sparks, and we used to get behind him. So the Muslim leader today, He's overweight. He can't walk from here to there. So it's the Sunni. You guys laughing. You don't have to be the Muslim leader. You're the leader of your house and you're overweight. The point, Ikhwani, the point is, the Prophet could have broken that man up. He could have broke him in half. He grabbed his arms and he took them off of me. He said, wait, what one to you? What you're saying, if I don't want to be just and fair, none of you can be just and fair. How can you accuse me of that? That accusation is kufr. You touching me like this is kufr. You touching me like this. And the proof of that is, one narration said it was Umar, another one said it was Khalid ibn Walid. Umar said, may Allah be pleased with him, Ya Rasulullah, let me chop his neck off. He's a munafiq, touching you like that, accusing your niyyah, accusing you of not being just. He said he wasn't sincere and he wasn't being fair and just. He didn't want to please Allah. He was playing favors. Let me chop his neck off. Prophet has wisdom, ya ikhwani. He said, no. If you chop his neck off, the people will say, I kill my companions. Do you want the people to say, I kill my companions? If I kill him right now, the news is going to spread in the desert, and it's not going to spread in the way of the reality. It's going to reach the people that if you disagree with Muhammad, he will kill you. And that would be a deterrent from them coming into the religion. This was a man who deserved to lose his life. So this goes to show, and it dispels the myth that Islam spread by the sword, meaning the Prophet forced people to become Muslims. The story of Usamah ibn Uthman, same story, another hadith, another incident, another one, third one. The Prophet was sleeping, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in jihad. He put his sword around a tree and he went to sleep. A Bedouin who was his enemy snuck up on him, took his sword quietly for the Muslim. There's another group of Muslims who believe Rasulullah knows the ilm al-ghayb. He didn't die, and he knows the ilm al-ghayb. The man came and he snuck up, he took the sword out of the sheath. If he knew the ilm al-ghayb, he would have known what was going on. He took it out and put the sword to the neck of the Prophet. The Prophet woke up on his back, and the man is standing over him with the sword. The man said, Ya Muhammad, who's going to help you against me now? He said, Allah, Allah, Allah. The man dropped the sword. The Prophet picked up the sword, turned the table on the man and said, now who's going to help you? The man said, take it easy, Muhammad. Slow down, take it easy. He said, do you bear witness, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah? He said, no, but I promise you, I won't fight you after today. He said, come, tell my people. He told the companions what happened. The Prophet said, you can go. He went to his people, he told his people what happened, they embraced this religion. It goes to show the Prophet looked and he weighed. He looked at the masalih and the mafasid. He just didn't blow people up just to get intiqam and revenge. Just kill people like that. He did the best thing that was going to benefit him, his religion, his companions. And you know, if your enemy gets power over you and you let him go just one time, just once, that's a sign of virtue. This happened consistently with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. There was another man, he did some problem. Prophet caught him. He said, I'm sorry, let me go. I ask you, please, by Allah, let me go. Prophet let him go. He said, but don't be against me again. He let him go. Later on, the man found himself against the Prophet, in opposition. He caught him again. The man said, Ya Muhammad, I ask you by Allah, let me go, let me go. He told him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, La yuldighul mu'min min hufratin marratain. The believer is not stung from the same hole twice. And he dealt with that man because he gave him a chance. He gave him a chance and he repeated it. But look at all of those consistent patterns of letting people go. Am I here to be extreme on the other side? Extreme on the other side is there's no jihad. All of the spokes lead to the sin of the will. We shall overcome, we shall overcome. But I'm not here to say that. I'm saying that the Khawarij are too tough and the apologetic Muslims are a problem too. And both of them are extremes. And get this message correct. Extremism is not just too far to the right. It's also the one who's not doing enough. You have at-tafrit and you have ifrat. Ifrat and tafrit. You went too far to the right, and you went too far to the left. It's the middle course, the sirat al-mustaqim, that's matlub. So the girl who doesn't pray, doesn't wear hijab, the Muslim who's all over the place and crazy, liberal, you're an extremist too. The extremist is not just the one killing and blowing up, praying all day. The extremist in Islam is the one who is away from the middle. You're too far to the right. And the companions, you're from the Rawafid, extreme. You curse the companions. The other extremity is Ahl al-Bayt. Ali is the Nur of Allah. Hassan and Hussein are from the Malaika. You're too extreme too. So we have to be in the middle. So that man, when the Prophet prevented the companion from killing him, he gave him everything that he wanted from the spoils of war. He said, okay, this is what you want? You can have it. And the man left. He told his companions, it's going to come out of that man's loins a group of people who will go in the religion and out of the religion the way the arrow goes in and out of the game. So the Khawarij, they began during the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's the first hadith about their existence. Hey guys, if the Nabi wanted to stop the Khawarij, he could have stopped it right there, because he knew in the future this man is going to be responsible for, he's going to be responsible for the fitna of these people. But the qadr of Allah, the qadr of Allah, he can't stop it, you can't stop it. But he could have stopped them right there. And he described what they were going to do in the future. And he could have stopped it right there. But it would have been a bigger harm. The people wouldn't have come into his religion. He went to the masjid. On his way to the masjid, there was a man in the middle of the street, and that man was praying in the middle of the street. The man made a square. This hadith is in the book of Imam Muhammad ibn Nasr al-Marwazi, Kitab Ta'zim Qadr al-Salat, the Musnad of Imam Ahmed. And it's an authentic hadith. The Prophet was walking to the masjid sallallahu alaihi wasallam to perform Salat al-Jama'ah. There was a man who made a square in the sand, and he was praying in the middle of the street by himself. And it was time for Salat in the masjid. The Prophet went, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said to his companions, who will go and kill that man for me right now? Abu Bakr said, I will. Abu Bakr went to kill the man, but the man was in sajda. He came back and said, he's in sajda, Ya Rasulullah. The Prophet became angry. He said, who will go and kill that man? Umar said, I will. He started rolling up his sleeve. When he went, the man was in sajda. Out of respect for a man praying, he came back. He said, he's making sajda. He became angry. Who will go and kill that man? Ali ibn Abi Talib said, I will. He said, you? And you're not going to find him. He went, the man was gone. He came back and said, he's gone, like you said, Ya Rasulullah. The Prophet said, Lo qataltumuhu lakana awwal fitnatin wa akhiraha. If you people would have killed that man, he would have been the first fitna and the last fitna. If you bring all of the narrations of that hadith, many different narrations in different books, if you bring them all together, that man was one of the leaders of the Khawarij. He said if you would have killed him, there would be no ISIS. There would be no fitna of the Khawarij. But it's the qadr of Allah. And it's not for you or me to sit there and to say, why, how. We believe in the qadr and we just keep it moving. Allah didn't make that your responsibility to understand all those details. Dhul Khuwaysira, put that on the side. Umar came, he was the Khalifa 12, 13 years. Golden years of Islam, Islam spread. He had everything in control, everything in check. Umar died or was killed, assassinated. After that, Uthman came. When Uthman came, from the khair of Umar's khilafah, Islam spread. A lot of Ajim came into Islam, a lot of wealth came into Islam, opulence, money. Uthman had in his court, some people were drinking khamr. He had in his court, under his administration, some relatives who were indulgent, overindulgent. Some of the young people came and they had a problem with what was going on with Uthman and what some of the people were doing. On that day of his khilafah, when he was the leader, Uthman was the best human being on the face of the earth. But they didn't know how to deal with the ruler, with the leader. And that's one of the characteristics of the Khawarij. They don't know how to deal with the ruler, even if he is oppressive. The wife can be like the Khawarij because Her husband is the imam in the house. He's not the perfect specimen of a Muslim, but there's a way you have to deal with him. There are things you can't do with him. But she's nasty, disrespectful. She's confrontational. She takes the secrets out and tells the people. In front of people, she talks. She's making khuruj, renegating. She has the characteristics of the Khawarij. And you know the man, as the imam of his house, he's doing things. He drinks khamr. He does big sins. And he has a good wife, miskina, salihah. She's a good lady. And what he's doing is not, he gambles, he does this, does that. This man, because he's the emir of his house, the imam of his house, he's not going to tolerate his wife dealing with him anyway. He invites us to go to his house and we're eating. And while we're in his house, the wife is cooking the food and we bring it out on the table. And he's sitting here, you, the next guy, me, the next guy, next guy, and his father is there. And the wife comes to the door. With hijab, jilbab, niqab, she comes to the door in front of us. She says, hey, guys, my husband is smoking, drinking, gambling, this and that and this. And she just blows up his spot in front of all of us. He's going to say, what are you doing? And rightly so. Because that's not the way to treat the leader of your house. Every man here will respect that. You're not perfect, but you don't expect your children to usurp your rule and your leadership. And you're not perfect. You're not an angel. You're not even praying. And it's right that they don't solve your problem in any way, because there's a minhaj. There's a way to do things, a way to get married, a way to get divorced, a way for the man to marry, the way for the girl to marry. From the time he's born, there are ahkam of the istiqbal of the mulud. From the time he's born to the time that he dies, and everything between, our religion told us what to do. Everything. You see this ring that I have on my finger? It's a gift. I wear it because it's a gift. Our religion told us, as a man, I can wear this ring on this finger and that finger only. I can't wear it on this finger, or that finger. The woman can wear it on any finger. This religion told us what finger you can wear your ring on and what finger you can't. You think it's going to be quiet about how to deal with the rule of the Muslims if he's oppressive? You think it's going to be quiet about the Prophet's birthday and things like that? Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Something like that's going to be quiet. That's why I told you guys, the maqasid of the religion, the way Allah made this religion, it is not like ashwa'i, just fold up. It's not like that. The Jew said to Salman al-Farisi, he said, لَقَدْ عَلَّمَكُمْ نَبِيُّكُمْ كُلُّ شَيْءٍ. Your prophet taught you everything, even how to go to the bathroom. And he wanted Salman al-Farisi to be apologetic and to say, oh, I'm sorry. And Salman said, Ajil, you're absolutely right. Nahana an istaqbal al-qiblata bil-bawl aw al-gha'id. Wa nahana an nastanjiya bil-yamin. Wa nahana an nastanjiya bi aqal min thalatha ahjar. وَنَهَانَا أَن نَسْتَنْجِيَ بِالرَّجِيعِ. You know what? You're right what you just said. He prohibited us in this religion, told us when you go to the toilet, akramakumullah, to do whatever you're going to do, don't face the qibla and don't put your back directly to the qibla. So when the Muslim builds his house in his country, not here, in his country, or if he can build it here, the builder is told, the builder automatically, the guy who's doing the plumbing, in the Muslim world, he knows to make the mirhad where you're going to use the toilet, akramakumullah, you're going to have the qibla to either side of you. Because his religion told him that. You as the homeowner, the builder, you usually don't even have to say to the builder, hey, because it's known. It's our religion. He prohibited us, don't go to the bathroom facing the qibla, behind. He said, don't clean yourself with your right hand. Clean it with the left hand. He said, if you're in the desert or someone and you have to make istijmar, you have to clean yourself with rocks because there's no water. He said, don't use less than 3 rocks because you're in the desert. I don't want any brother here bringing rocks into his house and he's making istijmar And he says, Abu Usamah said we have to be from Ahl Sunnah. That's for people who their situation is like that. And he also prohibited us from cleaning ourselves with the dry dung of animals. When it gets baked in or under the sun, the dung of the animal, it becomes like a rock. He said, don't use that for 2 reasons. Anybody know the 2 reasons? Anybody? Why do we not clean ourselves with dry dung? You know, the defecation of the animals. Why did the Prophet say don't do that? Anybody know? Real quick. Anybody know? Huh? The dung of animals is not najis. If you can eat that animal, it's not najis. His urine is not najis. If you can eat it, what you can't eat is najis. One reason, and he said in the hadith, because the dry dung is the food of our brothers from the jinn. So the chicken bones and the dry dung, our brothers from the jinn. Here comes the Muslims say, you believe in that hocus pocus stuff, Rumpelstiltskin, Santa Claus, Goldilocks, and the 7 bears. We're going to say, Wallahi, put me in Yankee Stadium, put me in Giant Stadium, full house, give me the microphone. I'm going to say, Allahumma naam, we believe in it. Because Muhammad said it, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because Allah mentioned it in the Qur'an. So don't be shy about those issues. Now, obviously, Ikhwani, I don't advise you when you meet someone, you're giving them dawah for the first time, don't start talking to him. Yeah, you know, Suleiman was talking to the ants, and then he was speaking and communicating. Don't say that to people. That's not wise. The other reason is, although it's not najis, it can harm you. So that's the meaning of the ayah. He loves us more than we love ourselves. He's closer to us than our own selves. So this is a mundane thing. What hand to use, this, facing the qibla. Mundane. You think this religion that talked about that is going to forget about the Prophet's birthday, sallallahu alaihi wasallam? It's going to forget to tell us how to deal with big issues that are big issues connected to blood, life, limb, the furuj, akramakumullah. Put the hadith of Dhu Khuwaisir aside, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman. Those people started fighting against Uthman. They came from Egypt. When they came from Egypt, Akhi Ahmed Kandil, they came from Egypt. They started going against Uthman, and they started trying to get support from other people. They went to one of the companions who was young during the time of the Prophet, but now he was older, Usamah ibn Zayd. They said, Usamah, do you see what Uthman is doing? His ministers are doing things, not Uthman. His ministers are doing this, drinking khamr, doing that. One of his ministers, who was a companion, Uqba ibn Amir, radiyallahu anhu. He drank khamr, he was drunk, he prayed Salatul Fajr, and he prayed 4 rakat instead of 2. And he read Qul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun, and he mixed up the reading of it, and in mixing it up, he said what was wrong. He was saying, we worship what you worship. After he prayed, some of the people said, hey, you made Fajr 2 rakat, and you said this. And he was angry. He said, if you want, I'll do more rakat. I'll do more than 4. Radiyallahu anhu. He was the leader. Not a single person from the companions, not a single person said, you a kafir. Not a single person came and wanted to fight him. You're gambling. None of them. So they went to Usamah. Don't you see what Uthman's governors are doing? And Uthman is allowing it. Don't you see? Usamah said, I see. They said, why don't you go and talk to him? Why don't you go and deal with him? He said, look, I see. But when I talk to him, I'm going to talk to him between him and myself, not in front of you. Not in front of you. Because you don't talk to the leader like that in front of everybody. That's the religion. من أراد أن ينصح ذا سلطان فليأخذه بيده وليخلو به فإن قبل منه فقد أدى ما كان عليه. if any of you wants to advise the leader of the Muslim, then take him by the hand and go in private and talk to him. If he accepts it, you did your job. If he didn't accept it, it's not you did your job. We don't march and demonstrate in this religion. You know what I told you? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's a Machiavellian concept. Prince Machiavelli, the Zionist, the Jew, you know, Prince Machiavelli. He came up with some Qawaid, Yahudiya. The friend of my friend is my friend. And that's not true. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. That's not true. The Muslim has to weigh the situation. The ends justify the means. The ends justify the means. I want to build a masjid, so therefore, I'm going to rob people and give them money to build a masjid. The ends don't justify the means. The end has to be Islamic and Sharif and noble. And the means by which you acquire and obtain those ends have to be legislated as well. So the Machiavellian concept, they are a problem with the Muslims. Someone comes and he says, yeah, but Abu Usamah, isn't there a hadith? The best jihad is to say the word that is the truth to the leader? Yes. And that hadith doesn't contradict the hadith of taking him to the side. You take him to the side and you tell him the truth. And the reason why it's the best jihad is when you take him to the side, he can cut your head off. He can imprison you and no one can do anything about it. It shows your bravery. It shows your being on this religion. We'll come back to that inshallah. Second hadith and the last hadith to connect it with ISIS and all that stuff. They ultimately killed Uthman ibn Affan. He was fasting. So Usamah didn't help them to show any manifestation of khuruj against the leader. And there were things going on under that leader's watch. It led them to ultimately assassinate Uthman. The Prophet told Uthman ibn Affan radiallahu anhu that he was going to get killed. He knew that. He knew that. He could have taken his money and went to Mecca, went somewhere and just relaxed. But he had a high level of iman. The people were coming to him. They put him under siege. He couldn't leave his house. Some of the people came and said, Ya Uthman, you're the imam. You're the imam of the Muslims and the imam of fitna, the troublemakers, the rebel rousers. They were praying in the masjid. Uthman was barricaded in his house, couldn't come out. Big fitna. They say, you're the imam of the Muslims, and he's the imam of the rebels. And the companions were praying behind them. Uthman said, as-salat is the best thing that you people can do. Pray behind that man. They said, but what, we want to get him back. The Prophet told me I was going to go to Jannah after a fitna that was going to hit me, so I'm going to be patient. He's the only human being who married two daughters of a prophet that we know of. He married Kulthum and Ruqayya, the two wives of the Sayyid of the Mursaleen. And then here you come and you say that he's a kafir and that you love the Prophet ﷺ. Why would the Prophet marry that man to two of his daughters? And you want me to cooperate with him and be united with him? That's a slap in the face of the Prophet. That's disrespect to the Prophet when you say his companions apostated. Anyway, they killed him while he was reading the Qur'an, while he was fasting. They killed him. The Khawarij. When that door opened on that day, it hasn't been closed until today. Ali ibn Abi Talib came. When Ali ibn Abi Talib came, there was confusion, ittirab with the Muslims, and Ali had to calm things down and get stability. Some of the companions, Aisha, Abu Talha, Az-Zubair ibn Awam, and others, they were upset because Uthman was their relative. He's the Khalifa, he was killed. Ali said, hey, I'm going to deal with that, but right now we have to get stability. We have to get stability. We have to get stability. One thing led to another. Ali ibn Abi Talib told those companions, hey, I have stability now. You have to come and stop doing what you're doing. They said, no, we're not going to listen. We want to give you the bay'ah, but we're not going to do it until we get the people who killed our relative and killed the Khalifa. He said, I'm going to take care of that, but not now. We have to get stability. It's a threat. And those companions didn't agree. Ali started fighting them, and the Prophet prophesied that. He told his companion, Ammar ibn Yasir, Sataqtuluka al-fi'atu al-baghiya. You're going to be killed by an oppressive group. When they fought, Ammar ibn Yasir was on the side of Ali ibn Abi Talib. So when he was killed, it was one of the clear proofs the haqq was with Ali. But something we should know about those companions, Ikhwani, Aisha, and those other companions, they were doing what they were doing because of ijtihad, not for the mulk, not for the kursi, not because of evil. They made ijtihad and they were wrong, but the haqq was Ali. After they defeated them, the Muslims were one very quickly. After they became one again, the people were fighting with Ali against them. The Khawarij, they left Ali. They say, you are kafir, and all of the companions are kuffar. And then they started taking verses of the Qur'an out of context. They started taking verses of the Qur'an out of context. They said, Allah, inna al-hukm illa lillah. You only can rule, only Allah can rule. If you believe in democracy or you live in America, you're kafir. Democracy, they just started taking things out of context. And these companions were the ones who understood the religion. They knew the Qur'an, and these people were against them. Long story short, Ikhwani, Ali fought against those people, and he defeated those people, but not before he made an effort to bring them back. He sent Abdullah ibn Abbas to them, his cousin, and when Abdullah ibn Abbas said, bravery, he said, Amir al-Mu'mineen, they're cousins. Let me go and talk to them. He said, I'm scared for you, O cousin of the Messenger of Allah. He said, why? He said, because they are the people of Ghadr. They are the people who will give you a promise and they will break their promise. It's one of the signs of the Khawarij. Don't go, I'm scared. He said, don't worry, don't worry. He went and he said, when I came to them, they had black spots in their head because they prayed a lot. Their fingers, their knuckles had calluses. Their knees had calluses because they prayed a lot. He sat with them and he said, what is the problem that you people have with the cousin of the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the one who accepted Islam before everybody, the one who the Prophet married his daughter to? Look at the fiqh of Ibn Abbas. Look at this aql. What is the problem that you people have with the one who's the cousin? This is the Prophet's relative. That means something. Number two, he accepted Islam way before any of you. Abu Bakr first, Khadija. Abu Bakr is the first man, Khadija the first grown woman, Ali ibn Abi Talib the first young man, and Zayd ibn Haritha, the first slave. Some narration said Ali was the first person to pray with him. And then he said, what problem you have with this man who? All of the companions are with him, and not one of them is with you. That's saying something. Not a single companion is with you. The companions are the ulama. You don't have a single one. And I say this, and I want to shout this at the top of my lungs. Listen to me. There's not a scholar of the Sunnah who is ma'ruf, mashhur, mu'tabar. There's not a scholar, not a single scholar who is well known, who is with ISIS. Not one. I'll give you $100 here today if you can name me one who is well-known, ma'ruf, mashhur. Not one. Abdullah bin Abbas said, not a single one of them is with you. Not one. What's the problem? They told him the problem. And they were problems where they misunderstood the religion. The first problem is when he fought against Aisha and her group, he captured them. And when he caught Aisha, he sent her back to Medina, honored. Meaning, he should have taken her as a captive of war. Number two, when he was debating with them, he didn't allow the people to call him the Amir al-Mu'mineen yet. because things were unstable. So he didn't want to agitate the situation. You know, the Prophet ﷺ, when Quraysh was fighting him over Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, they said, we don't believe in that. He said, okay, just put Bismillah. This is a contract between Muhammad Rasulullah and Quraysh. They said, we don't believe, we won't fight you if you're the Rasulullah. He said, okay, leave that alone. They say he doesn't call himself the Amirul Mu'mineen, so he must be the Amirul Kafirin. Number 3, he allowed men to judge in the case. And Allah said that the ruling is only for Allah. But he allowed men to judge. Amir ibn al-As and Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, they judged in the case. And only Allah should judge. He said, is that it? They say, yes. He said, as for him sending Aisha back, she's the mother of the believers. And if you believe that it was permissible for him or you to do with her what you do with a captive of war, you go out of this religion. You go. And if Aisha was a Zaniya, as those people say in Iraq and Iran that people want us to be connected to, if she was a Zaniya, why didn't Ali ibn Abi Talib deal with her in another way? Why? Because Ali respected her. Ali knows in respecting this lady, he's respecting the Nabi. Ali and Aisha had misunderstandings, but there was no enmity and animosity. These people say they believe in Ali, love Ali. Why didn't he deal with her like that? He sent her back to Medina, honored her. Said, as for him not calling himself the Amirul Mu'mineen, then he told him about what happened with Quraysh and the Prophet. He didn't call himself Rasulullah, Bismillah. He said, as for the men judging, then Allah mentioned in the Qur'an that if there's a dispute between you, then bring 2 judges concerning when you kill an animal running. He said, so do you think that Allah will let men judge in the blood of an animal and not judge in the blood of the men? When the people heard that, there were some sincere people from their side. A third of the army left and came over there. A third, because of the efforts of the scholar by Allah's permission. The other 2/3 remained, and Ali dealt with them. Those 2 hadith that I mentioned, Dhul Khuwaysira and this hadith, brings us the last 2-3 minutes to ISIS. At the top of the list, Ikhwani, make sure, as our scholar, the Sheikh Al-Albani used to always mention, rahimahullah, and Al-Albani was a white man from Albania. He was a white man, but he grew up in Syria. Spent a lot of time in Syria, learned the language. Syria, it's a land of barakah, Syria. Prophet said about that place, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, إِذَا فَسَدَ أَهْلُ الشَّامِ فَلَا خَيْرَ فِيكُمْ. If the people of Asham become no good, then there's no good in this ummah. The Muslims in Syria, in Jordan, and Turkey, that area in there, Iraq, look at the condition of the Muslims there right now. Al-Albani came up there, he said, based on those books, Usul al-Sunnah, Sharh al-Sunnah, I'tiqad Ahl al-Sunnah, Aqidah Ahl al-Hadith, Ashab al-Hadith, he said, don't take a position that you don't have an imam who preceded you in that position. Don't ever take a position in Islam. You don't have an imam who understood that issue just like you. Don't be the first person, anyone here, don't be the first person to come up with a ruling that you don't have scholars who are well known. So if you want to protest, you want to boycott products, you want to make sure that the ulama are involved in those issues. Don't you and you and you, me, just regular people, make decisions, because our knowledge of the religion is not like that. You're not a person who's mutakhassas in the religion. You don't have the alat, the tools and the utensils to look into this book. Respect our religion a little bit more. Everybody who gets before you and he gives a talk that you like, it's not a scholar. Every person who comes and gives a khutbah, it's not a mufti. There's a difference. There's a mufti who, if he gives a khutbah, he's boring. I mean, he's boring. He's not a speaker. But when it comes to weighing the masalih and the mafasid and making istidlal from the kitab and the sunnah, he has the alat, he has the tools and the utensils. Whereas us, we don't have any tools, we don't have any utensils, and we don't even have any teeth. And we're coming to the meal taking positions that are beyond us. That's the first thing about ISIS. The second thing about ISIS, Ikhwani, is I ask all of you, if you have, especially the Arabs from amongst you, if you go to YouTube and you go to ISIS, there are some really gory, terrible things that they do. You have to sign in order to get access to that footage. You have to sign in. You just can't go to regular YouTube. You have to sign in. It's like those bad channels, porno and all of that. You have to sign in to go to those really bad things. If you go to the ISIS phenomenon, you are going to see what will cause your hat to pop off of your head, cause your khimara to pop off of your head. And the way these people understand Islam and what they're doing in the name of Islam to the Muslims. Don't anyone sit there and think, I'm with the regime of Syria. That man in Syria is a kafir, he's a zalim, he's a fasiq. He helps the kuffar and he's against Islam. The Nusayriya, the Alawiyya, their aqeedah's father is outside of the fold of Islam. I'm not for that man. But our religion, as I told you, it is a religion of knowledge. It's not a religion of emotions. You make decisions based upon emotions. ISIS is a corrupt Jama'at, and when you compare them to other Khawarij groups, they are one of the worst, like what happened to the companion's son, Arad ibn Khabbab. He was one of the poor Muslims. He came to the Kaaba, and I'm done with it. He said, Ya Rasulullah, afala tadullah lana, afala tastansiru lana. Make dua to Allah. Help us. We're weak. Me, Bilal, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Ammar, Yasir, Sumayya. We don't have Quraysh protecting us. We're weak. We're weak. Ask Allah to help us. He said, you know, there was a man in the past. He would be brought forth. Hole would be dug. They would saw him in half. That wouldn't cause him to leave his religion. He'll still say Allah's one. They would separate his flesh from his meat, and that wouldn't cause him to leave his religion. He said, you people should know that the time is going to come in this religion where a man will travel from Sana'a to Hadramaut with his sheep. He won't be afraid of anyone but Allah. That's how much stability will be in the Muslim world. Where's that stability right now? In Yemen. The guy from Al-Qaeda, not ISIS, from Al-Qaeda. He went to a mess, he went into a hospital. Go to the YouTube. He went into the hospital in army fatigue, heavy machinery, and he started shooting the Muslims in the hospital. He took a hand grenade, and the Muslims didn't know what was going on. They just heard shooting. When he came to where the Muslim men and women were, he took a hand grenade and threw it down the hall. Some of them were able to make it into the room that was adjacent to everyone, but most of them, it blew them up right there. That's what Al-Qaeda did. And the leader of Al-Qaeda came out and apologized for that. They said he was a rogue person. And ISIS is worse than that. They're worse than that. So we don't want anyone from amongst you here to leave this place and I'm just against ISIS. No. All you have to do is, number one, what scholar of Islam is with ISIS? You name it, $100. I know some of you have more money than that, but you can make $100, give it to Sadaqah, whatever. $100 I'll give you if you just tell me one scholar. No scholar whatsoever. And not only that, all of the hardcore so-called scholars who supported the Khawarij and Al-Qaeda, I won't even mention their names. Some of them were arrested in England. One of their name is Abu Qatada al-Filistini. He was giving fatwas in England, creating fitna for the Muslims with his fatwa. They arrested him. He's making takfir of the rulers. Why? Because they go into this contract with the kuffar and they do this and they do that. So all of the rulers are kuffar, all of them, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, all of that. When they arrested him, they said, we're going to deport you back to Jordan. But the system of the kuffar of England, their system protected him. They couldn't deport him back to Jordan because there was a fear if he went back to Jordan, they were going to compromise his civil liberties and his human rights. He brought that up. And the European Union, the European Court in The Hague protected him. Told the UK, you can't send them back. Look at this. He used the ayat, وَمَنْ لَمْ يَحْكُمْ بِمَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ فَأُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْكَافِرُونَ. So he made that ayat make takfir of all of the Muslim rulers, all of them. أَمْ لَهُمْ شُرَكَاء شَرَعُوا لَهُم مِّنَ الدِّينِ مَا لَمْ يَأْذَن بِهِ اللَّهُ. He used those ayats to put the hukam out of Islam. When they arrested him and they wanted to deport him, the country wanted to deport him, he went to the Court of Human Rights. And they said, no, you can't send him. And then they let him out of prison and he won his freedom. Why was he allowed to go to the courts of human rights who don't judge by what Allah reveals? Why the double standard when it comes to the rulers and when it comes to you? It's another issue. So the point I wanted to make, Ikhwani, is all of the so-called ulama of those Khawarij-oriented people, all of them themselves have refuted ISIS, all of them, the famous ones. Abu Qatada, Abu Basira, all of them have refuted. All of them. So don't let some young Amr, Bakr, Zayd, Khadija from the people come and support that, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend. You have to have a minhaj. It's not our religion. The enemy of your enemy, you have to do what Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said to the people, لا تكونوا أميعة لا تكونوا أميعة لا تقولون إن أحسن الناس أحسنت وإن أساءوا أسأت ولكن وطنوا أنفسكم. Don't be a copycat. Don't do what the people do. Don't be a person who says, if the people do good, I'll do good. If the people do bad, I'll do bad. But what you have to do is you have to weigh every single situation. This is what I wanted to present. We have some questions from some of the brothers, but time is over, so I'm going to stop right here, asking Allah Azza wa Jalla to make it easy for us and easy for you, and I ask Allah to protect our shabab. And again, I'm telling you this from my personal experience, coming here after being gone for 8 years. I don't really see this problem with ISIS as something that the American Muslims are really dealing with. There are some people who I heard there's a voice coming out of Michigan, some du'at coming out of Michigan, what they write on Facebook and what they're saying in their classes. I say to the du'at of this country, take it easy and relax. We're going to put Islam backwards. Prophet, when Dhul Khuwaisira came, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he didn't put Islam backwards. That man deserved to die, but he weighed the situation. When that man took the sword out and put it on him, he deserved to die, but he didn't, because there was a bigger goal and objective. Usamah ibn Uthman, radiyallahu anhu, when he came, he deserved to die. May Allah be pleased with him. But the Prophet looked way down the line, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is going to be the ramifications of this action? And I tell you, like the hadith said, لا يسبن أحدكم أباه. Nobody should curse his father. Don't swear and curse your father. They would say, how? Why would someone curse his father? That's not from our culture. He said, a man will curse the father of another man, and then he gets upset and curses your father. So you're indirectly responsible for your father getting cursed. You say something bad about his mother, something bad about his father. So in turn, he says something bad about your mother and your father. Don't let any of us be the ones who curse Islam. Don't curse Islam. How am I going to curse Islam? By doing something that's not befitting in the public eye. And then the people look at us and say, you know, those Muslims, those people are insane. Those people are insane. Who in his right mind cuts the neck of a man like that? Who in his right mind does? I don't want my wife looking at that. I don't want my children looking at that. That will affect your mind. If you look at that stuff, it'll kill your mind, your spirit. But that's the religion, to take a human being and to do that in front of the whole world. And then we're going to say the Prophet ﷺ is a Rasul al-Rahmah, and Allah is ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and our religion is, what are you talking about? You people are jazzarun, butchers. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ونسأل الله تعالى التوفيق والسداد سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك وأشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.